Hey guys, welcome back to another YouTube video, and today's video will be going over my favorites from the 80s. So I have them organized by genre in this stack. There's a quick glance at it. We'll try to talk about each movie for a little bit. So let's get right into it. One drama, the only drama that I have in this is Dead Poet Society, starring Robin Williams. This is a really great movie. I've only seen it 2 or 3 times, but it still goes to the top of my list for favorites. I watched this, if I can hold on to it, for the very first time in school in my 9th or 10th grade year. So yeah. Next up, we're going to the action section. We got Stallone in First Blood. This is a very nice steelbook. Drop a comment down below if you agree that it is a nice steelbook. I don't know which my favorite of the Rambo movies, I'm trying to get my words out, are my favorite, but it's probably that one. Next up, Lethal Weapon. I'm going with the original one for my favorite from the 80s. I don't know what the years are on the other ones. Starring Danny Glover and Mel Gibson. They did a great duo together. Next up, we got Eddie Murphy and Beverly Hills Cop. I enjoyed all 3 of them, the first 2 more than the third one. Next up, another Eddie Murphy movie is 48 Hours, also starring Nick Nolte. I've watched this one once. You have to excuse me, I'm going to keep coughing. I'm going through a cold right now. Next up, you've got Stripes on the steelbook, starring Bill Murray, John Candy. I believe Harold Ramis is even in this. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong on that. He might not be in it. And that was all of the action. Let's go to the family movies. Some of these can be considered comedy, but I stuck them for the family section. So we got Mr. Mom, starring Michael Keaton. His wife ends up being the one to go to work, and he stays home to be Mr. Mom, hence the title. This cast also has Christopher Lloyd in it, but not for that big of a portion of the movie. Just sort of throw that out there. Next up, we've got Dan Aykroyd and John Candy in The Great Outdoors. Really, really great family movie. I especially like the scene where they're feeding the bears, where they get stuck in the cave, the water skiing scene, the steak scene. If you have seen this movie, let me know, because I find it to be very underrated. Next up, just watch this one for Christmas Day. A Christmas Story classic. Some of the acting in it is pretty bad. I come to realize that this year, but it's still an absolute great classic movie to watch every year. Next up, Harry and the Hendersons, starring John Lithgow and the mom from A Christmas Story, which I realized earlier this year when I was watching it with my mom. I've watched this one 1,000 times growing up. If you want a story, I'll go ahead and throw out a short story there. This family's just driving along and they hit Bigfoot. They don't know it at the time. They think he's dead. They strap him to the roof of the car and take him home, and it turns out that he's not dead. Pretty funny movie. Next up, we've got Ernest. I love all of the Ernest movies, and not so much Ernest in the Army, and not so much Ernest Goes to Africa. My favorite one, excuse me again, is Ernest Scared Stupid. Camp 80s movies, 90s movies, they're just great. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, I like this one better than the Johnny Depp one, but I still love that one almost as much as that one. Let me know which one you prefer, of the Johnny Depp or Gene Wilder. Next up, we got Rick Moranis in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Childhood classic, straight up childhood classic for me. Along with Honey, I Shrunk Ourselves, and Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. But I don't like Honey, I Blew Up the Kid as much as I do Shrunk the Kids and or Shrunk Ourselves. Got a couple more here for family movies. Next up, we've got Goonies. It could go under action, but it's more of a family movie. Here on the back it says Goonies Never Die. Great movie. Some people say that they find it very annoying, and I can see it a little bit why. Kids screaming. I know about that. We got this Herbie collection. The one from the 80s on here is Herbie Goes Bananas. Personally, my favorite one is Herbie Rides Again, I believe. That one right there. But yeah, watch those lots of times. Now let's go ahead and get into the comedy section. Overboard, starring Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. I will not find myself watching the remake. It doesn't look anywhere near as good as this one is. Excuse me. I wish I'd get over this cold, damn it. Next up, Caddyshack. Great cast. Hilarious movie. My favorite sports movie of all time. And I believe that is better than Happy Gilmore, even though I still love Happy Gilmore and Adam Sandler. Next up, we've got European Vacation, National Lampoon's European Vacation, starring Chevy Chase, or Chevy Chase, however you pronounce it. I like this one better than the original one. You don't hear anybody really say that, but yeah, I do like that one better than the original one. I think it's overrated. And finally, we got another Eddie Murphy movie in the comedy section. Dark comedy. It's racist. That's why I said dark comedy. Dan Aykroyd as well. These two trade places. Eddie Murphy is a homeless man, and Dan Aykroyd is a rich man, and they trade places for a day, and they don't know why until the end of the movie. And last section is horror. We've got Child's Play, this Chucky complete collection. It's not complete. This was made before Call of Chucky and the Child's Play remake came out. That is also one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Next up, we got this Predator 3 movie collection on Steelbook, which I found for a steal for only $5. My absolute favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Next up, we got the Blob remake. This one came out in '88. The original one was like from the 50s, and that one is really good as well. But I just prefer this one. Let me know if you've seen it, and it's my only Scream Factory movie out of all of these movies. Plus more. This isn't all of them. Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf. This is the only animated movie that I threw in this video. This is my favorite Scooby-Doo movie of all time. I watched it a lot growing up. And finally, Gremlins. People say this is a Christmas movie. Yes, it is, because it takes place on Christmas Day. But it's not a movie that I say, hey, let me watch it, because it's a Christmas season. I watch it more of a horror movie during the month of October. Anyways, that are all my favorite 80s movies. And I'm going to go ahead and film my favorite 90s movies video.